When Donald Trump looked into the cameras and spoke about Christians being targeted around the world, his words carried a weight that instantly captured global attention. This was not just another political statement. It was a declaration that something serious was happening, something that could no longer be ignored. His tone was firm, his message clear, and for millions watching, it felt like a moment that demanded the world stop and listen. Because behind those words lies a reality that is far more complex, far more painful, and far more urgent than many people realize. Across different regions of the world, Christians have faced varying forms of persecution, some visible, others hidden in silence. But to truly understand the depth of this crisis, we begin in Nigeria, a country where faith runs deep and where, for many, belief is both a source of strength and a reason for vulnerability. In Nigeria, Christianity is not just practiced, it is lived. It shapes communities, guides families, and forms the backbone of daily life for millions. Churches are filled with worshipers, voices rise in prayer, and faith is passed from one generation to the next. Yet in certain regions, particularly in the north and central parts of the country, this same faith can place individuals in situations of profound risk. Over the years, there have been numerous reports describing violent incidents affecting Christian communities. Villages have been attacked, places of worship destroyed, and families forced to abandon everything they know. Entire communities have been displaced, moving from one place to another in search of safety, often with little more than what they can carry. But the story does not end in destruction. What makes Nigeria's situation especially powerful is the resilience that follows. Churches are rebuilt. Communities gather again. People return, even after experiencing loss, holding on to their belief with a determination that is difficult to explain but impossible to ignore. The causes of these conflicts are layered. Religious differences play a role, but they are often intertwined with ethnic tensions, economic struggles, and disputes over land and resources. In some cases, extremist ideologies have fueled violence. In others, long-standing grievances have escalated into clashes. Yet for many victims, the experience feels deeply personal. They are targeted not just as individuals, but as believers. It was within this global context that Donald Trump addressed the issue of religious persecution. During his presidency, he made religious freedom a visible part of international discussions, bringing attention to situations that many felt had been overlooked. His response was not subtle. It was direct and at times forceful. He emphasized that the United States would stand with people of faith and would not remain silent in the face of persecution. For many observers, especially those from affected communities, this acknowledgement mattered. It signaled recognition. It suggested that their struggles were being seen on a global stage. But Nigeria is only one part of a much larger picture. In Pakistan, Christians face a different set of challenges. As a minority, they often navigate a social environment where accusations, particularly those tied to sensitive religious laws, can have serious consequences. Even unverified claims can lead to fear, legal battles, or community tensions that escalate quickly. In China, the situation takes another form. Rather than widespread violence, the focus is often on control. Regulations around religious practice, monitoring of gatherings, and restrictions on certain expressions of faith create an environment where belief must be carefully managed. For many, it becomes a quiet, internal struggle, how to maintain faith within defined boundaries. Then there is North Korea, where religious practice is among the most restricted in the world. In such a setting, faith is often hidden, practiced in secrecy, and carried with immense personal risk. The absence of visible worship does not mean the absence of belief. It simply means that belief must survive in silence. Each of these countries presents a different reality, yet they are connected by a common thread: individuals facing hardship because of their faith. Throughout his time in office, Donald Trump positioned himself as a voice on this issue. His administration took steps that included raising awareness, engaging in diplomatic conversations, and in some cases, applying pressure on governments accused of violating religious freedoms. These actions were seen by supporters as a strong stand, while critics question their scope and consistency. But regardless of perspective, the issue itself gained visibility. And visibility is powerful. It brings attention. It sparks dialogue. It forces conversations that might otherwise remain in the shadows. Yet, awareness alone does not resolve the problem. If persecution continues, the question becomes one of action. What should be done next? What measures are effective? And how can the global community respond in a way that leads to lasting change? Possible paths forward have been widely discussed. Increased diplomatic engagement, stronger international cooperation, and targeted measures against those responsible for severe violations are among the options often considered. There is also a growing emphasis on addressing root causes, factors like poverty, political instability, and social division that can contribute to conflict. In Nigeria, for example, long-term peace depends not only on immediate responses but also on resolving deeper issues tied to land, governance, and community relations. In countries with strict governmental control, change may require gradual shifts, supported by international dialogue and internal reform. But beyond policies and strategies, there is a human dimension that cannot be overlooked. In every affected region, there are individuals and families who continue to live out their faith despite uncertainty. In Nigeria, communities gather again after displacement. In Pakistan, families navigate complex social realities with caution and resilience. In China, believers find ways to maintain their spiritual lives within restrictions. In North Korea, faith endures quietly, often unseen but deeply held. These stories are not just about suffering, they are about endurance. The reaction of Donald Trump brought a certain level of global attention to these realities. It added urgency to the conversation and challenged the international community to take a closer look at issues that might otherwise be overlooked. But the future of this issue does not depend on one voice alone. It depends on whether awareness turns into action, whether dialogue leads to solutions, and whether the global community remains engaged beyond moments of heightened attention. Because at its core, this is not just a political issue. It is a human one. And as long as individuals continue to face challenges because of their beliefs, the conversation will continue, growing louder, reaching further, and demanding answers that the world can no longer afford to ignore. But even in the middle of all this, there is something that cannot be taken away: faith. To every Christian watching this, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what you are facing, your faith still matters. Your prayers still matter. Your voice still matters. History has shown again and again that even in the darkest moments, faith has a way of rising, of standing firm, and of overcoming fear. In places like Nigeria and beyond, we continue to see believers who refuse to give up, who continue to gather, to pray, and to believe despite everything around them. That same strength lives in you. That same courage is what keeps hope alive. This is why conversations like this are important. Not just to inform, but to remind the world that faith is still standing, and to remind believers that they are not alone. If this message has spoken to you, take a moment to be part of this growing voice. Share your thoughts in the comments. Let your voice be heard. Your perspective could encourage someone else who is watching silently. And if you believe in spreading messages like this, messages of truth, faith, and awareness, then consider subscribing to this channel. There is so much more coming. More stories, more insights, and more faith-lifting content designed to inform, inspire, and strengthen your belief. This is more than just a video. It's a community. A place where faith is not hidden, where voices are not silenced, and where truth continues to be shared. Stay connected. Stay informed. And above all, stay strong in your faith.